Week 1 of the Leafs season, tick. Goaltending, already a problem, tick. Already experiencing all the emotions that come with being a Leafs fan, tick. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'm Victoria and I talk about all things Toronto sports, Leafs hockey related from Scotland. And today we are doing a week 1 analysis of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now I'm going to try and do this for every week of the season. I can't do individual games because 1, time zones, 2, my life's busy enough, and 3, I just thought it'd be nicer just doing sort of a weekly roundup analysis of the Leafs games. So week 1, the Leafs had 3 games in week 1. They were starting off on the road and then 2 at home. So let's dive into how those shaped up, shall we? So game 1 on the road against Montreal. The Canadiens win 4-3. It was a very painful loss. It was a very traditional Leafs loss as well. So in the first period, Bunting scored, which is great, I love Michael Bunting. In the second, Dennis Mulligan got one. He's shaping up to be decently good for us. However, Cole Caulfield then got 2. He's a good player. He got 2 in that period and the game was equal. And then in the third, Montreal's Monaghan, is that how you say it? He took the lead, but Nylander then kept it tied and I was so ready for overtime. Mentally, I was already in overtime. When there's less than a minute to go and you're tied, you expect both teams to just play so defensively that you're going to overtime because it's better getting a point than none, right? So I was already mentally in overtime. And then of course, 19 seconds left in the game, Josh Anderson hits one home and Montreal take the first win. Matt Murray started that game, he played that game. Looks like the only game that he's going to be playing for us for some time anyway. We'll get to that. The team seemed slightly underwhelming to me, and of course you've got first game nerves. It wasn't at home and everyone is still settling in, and there's definitely a settling in period. So even a few more games in, I will still give them the benefit of the doubt because they'll still be sort of finding their way. Then again, they've had a number of pre-season games where they should have been sort of tweaking those things. It shouldn't really spill into the season. But anyway, it's a small sample size. And the first game, I just thought they didn't have the same oomph that I was expecting. I don't know, maybe that's just me. My main issue from that game, the Muzzin-Holl D-pairing, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work, and that goal that we gave up, a lot of the responsibility for that has to be put on that duo. Something needs to change there. I also find it concerning when you should be heading to overtime and when you give up a goal that late in the game, because those 1 points in the long run add up to a lot, and I would way rather obviously lose in overtime in the regular season than in regulation, right? And it's important that the team are able to hold on to those ties to get into overtime, especially against teams that it's going to be hard to get points from. Even getting 1 in the long run adds up over the course of a season, and you can't be giving up goals with 19 seconds left in the game. That is like a problem. So hopefully that is something that will be fixed as time goes on. But yes, game 1, not the best start at all. However, the next night, just 24 hours later, we were at home. It was our home opener against the Washington Capitals, and that one shaped up to be a lot better. The Maple Leafs won it 3-2. Not gonna lie, I slept for quite a lot of that game because I was up until 3 AM watching game 1. So this game I slept a lot for and had to very much catch up the next day. But Samsonov was starting in that one, and I was pretty content based on how much his contract was. He made 24 saves in the game. I don't think he's like a high caliber goaltender, but we didn't pay for that from him. And really it's on the Leafs for perhaps not making better goaltending choices than it is on Samsonov for his performance, because I think for the contract he's on, He's been solid so far, and I'm not going to slag the guy in any way. Tavares opened up the scoring in the first period, but by the end of the period the Leafs were 2-1 down, as Dowd and Johansson of the Capitals both put up goals to take the lead. Calle Jarnkrok equalised the game in the second period. Now he is someone I've really been enjoying watching. He's someone that I think has actually been a good addition. I think he was a bit of an underrated signing, and impressed with him so far. And yeah, he tied the game in the second, and then eventually my favourite man, Austin Matthews, broke the tie in the third period and scored the game-winning goal. Austin was again underwhelming for me in the first game. I don't think he was on top form, which is okay. Nobody's ever going to be on top form all of the time. Game 2, he was so much better. He seemed at his normal level and pace, which was great to see. And just number one Matthews stan right here. Like, he's my favourite player, everyone knows that. Need I say more? It was a much better game, the second one. The home opener was far better than against Montreal, which is ironic because Washington on paper are a far better team than Montreal are. I don't know what that says about the Leafs, but we always do this, don't we? We lose the games we should win, and we win the games that we should lose a lot of the time. But it was good to see the Leafs dominated a lot more than in game 1. We outshot them, we were winning more face-offs, and we were also making more hits, which is important and good to see. And then moving into game 3, which was against the Ottawa Senators, again at home, and the Leafs also won that one 3-2. All very close games, as you can see. There's definitely a pattern emerging. So the Leafs came out a little bit weak, and the first period ended 1-0 Ottawa as Shane Pinto scored. However, David Kampf managed an equaliser in the second period, and despite Nylander scoring in the third to take the lead, Giroux then tied the game up once again, and the most unlikely hero came to the rescue as Justin Holl scored to take the lead with just a couple minutes left in the period and scored the game-winning goal. Now, Justin Holl was someone that I definitely was very harsh on last season, and I think he deserved it. So far, I mean, if he stays like this, I completely changed my opinion on him. I'm always open to changing my mind on players when they improve. He definitely seems to have improved in the off-season. It might change, who knows, but in the first few games, I've been impressed with Justin Holl. I like this version of him. If he could stay that way, that would be much appreciated. I thought Ottawa would be better this season. They were the most upgraded team in the division by far in the off-season, so I knew we were going to see better quality of playing from them, and that definitely showed. That was, I would say, the tightest game out of the 3 this week, and the numbers also show that. We did outshoot them, but only 32-28, which was a lot closer than other games. Ottawa won 30 face-offs, Toronto won 29, and they had very low penalty minutes this game. It was only, I think, 4 each, but it was the same number, so very equal. So I think the Ottawa games are going to be really entertaining as a Toronto fan this season. I did think that Ottawa would be a much better team than they were last year, and they certainly lived up to my expectation and slightly exceeded it, I will say. I wasn't sure the Leafs were going to get this one for a while I was watching it, but thank you, Justin Holl, for saving the day. It's not something I thought I was going to be saying anytime soon, but here we are. So my overall thoughts for the first week. I think the Leafs have things to tweak on, and my main concern is still the goaltending because, of course, Matt Murray. The Matt Murray and the Peter Mrazek scenarios are 2 parallels. Honestly, I read that there's only 20 minutes of difference between their season starts because Mrazek played 40 minutes of game 1 and then was out, and then obviously Murray played 1 full game, then got injured at practice in the morning, and then he's now out for the next 4 weeks, which does open a lot of cap space because he's on LTIR for the next, 4 weeks, so he's definitely not back until at least the second week of November. So Samsonov is going to have to exceed both his contract and our expectations of him for this to work. But plus side, we have been able to recall the likes of Nick Robertson, who obviously had been put down to the Marlies, along with Wayne Simmons. So it means that we now have them playing, which makes our roster a lot stronger, minus the goaltending. However, we've only got, I think, one back-to-back in the time that Murray is likely to be out, so we shouldn't need to call on Källgren apart from maybe that once. And of course Källgren got hurt the other night during a Marlies game. It was just a disastrous looking scenario for the Leafs, but Samsonov has a lot to live up to now, and I really hope that the rest of the team can pull together enough to sort of keep us going and keep hanging on in there until Murray's better. But I think the Leafs may have to look for a new goaltender, because the Murray injury scenario it's even worse than what we expected, right? And the expectations were already pretty low on the injury front. So that is definitely the biggest concern of Leafs fans this week. 1 week into the season and we have goaltending disasters. It's like a goaltending curse, I swear. At least it opens up roster room for the likes of Robertson, who I'm excited to see play. But overall, the Leafs, a little bit of a shaky start, but I'm very hopeful. They look like a solid team, a lot of really good individual talent in there, and I think we can still go far this season. So tonight we play Arizona. I'll make sure this video is up before then. So that is all for just now. I hope you enjoyed this week 1 Maple Leafs analysis. Comment down below what you thought of the Leafs this week. Like this video if you haven't already, and make sure to subscribe. I will also link all my other social medias down below, so make sure to check them out. And I will be back soon for more hockey chats from across the pond. Bye guys.